Last week, we looked at the worst matches ever competed for the bold, beautiful, brilliant, brassy, boisterous Big Gold Belt. Thank you to the combined efforts of Triple H and the Great Khali for everything you do to keep my face free from smile-based wrinkles. However, all is not lost. Let's balance the books by focusing on some actual good wrestling for Whoopi Gold Belt. After all, so far there have been 2 matches competed for it, Seth Rollins vs AJ Styles and Seth Rollins vs Damian Priest, and both have been good. It's a nice start, but these matches right here, these are the measuring stick. I'm Adam hailing from partsFUNknown. Here are our 10 greatest World Heavyweight Championship matches of all time. Honourable mention, Rey Mysterio vs Randy Orton vs Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 22. Yes, it's a match that was famously cut for time at WrestleMania 22, coming in at a positively slight 9 minutes, but those 9 minutes are bloody gangbusters. One of Kurt Angle's all-time great performances, from that pyro to that double German suplex. It's a hell of a sprint, all killer, no filler, but 5 more minutes and it might have been an all-time great. Number 10, John Cena vs Edge, Backlash 2009. John Cena and Edge never really had a bad match on pay-per-view. Theirs was a blessed union that bore such tender fruit as their SummerSlam 2006 match, their Unforgiven 2006 match, and then years later this glorious nonsense fest of a last man standing match at Backlash 2009. Only the show that WrestleMania 25 could have been. It's very highly stupid in all the best ways, from John Cena yeeting the steel steps into Edge on the outside, Cena FUing Edge onto a bunch of suspiciously wrestler-looking plants in the audience, Edge not losing to the Avalanche FU, Cena responding by not losing to the Concerto, and the match perfectly building in silliness to potentially the best closing spot in Last Man Standing history when the Big Show comes out and kills John Cena dead by hoying him into an exploding spotlight. Like, this is a dead man. This is a corpse dead man. Just a bunch of fun things, this match. Number 9, Daniel Bryan vs Sheamus, Extreme Rules 2012. Now look, I'm not one of those people that hated Daniel Bryan vs Sheamus at WrestleMania 28 at the time. I get it. It was a punchline. It was a fun moment. It kicked the show off with a bang. However, maybe I understood the fan outrage a bit more 1 month later when the lads turned this out and I realized what they were capable of. This 2 out of 3 falls match ruled, and was one of the first glimpses of there being an American dragon inside Daniel Bryan, using cunning and bastard to forfeit a fall in order to permanently weaken Sheamus, immediately tie it up and set up a brilliantly tense third fall. It's just nice to see WWE frame Daniel Bryan as being smart rather than, I don't know, hairy. And also actually showcase Sheamus as being bloody great in 2012, which was very much a year when he was otherwise not great. 1-800 fella era Sheamus. How dare you have him have all those boring matches with Del Rio when he can do this? Number 8, Randy Orton vs Christian, Over the Limit 2011. Poor Randy Orton and Christian having what would otherwise be the rivalry of the year if it happened literally any other time than the summer of Punk. If you've ever wondered why a lot of us wrestling nerds constantly shout that Christian is the best, this is why. Well, actually his run in TNA is why, but this is almost as good. Only Christian has the sheer rat charm to go from everyone shedding a tear at Extreme Rules 2011 when he finally won the big one with the help of Edge, to jumping for joy when he finally got what was coming to him at SummerSlam after Edge called him a little bitch. Terrific. Randy just injected him with a lethal dose of darkness like the good old snake that he was. All of their matches in between Mania 27 and SummerSlam 2011 were good, but the one at Over the Limit is probably their best. Both men were still face at this point in the story, so no shortcuts taken. The action's fast, fluid, with beautiful counters and near falls all over the place. It might actually be both men's best singles match in WWE. Orton and Christian was just one of those perfect pairings. Much like number 7, Jeff Hardy vs CM Punk, SummerSlam 2009. I mean, the story wrote itself. Regarded by literally everyone as the best feud of 2009, the clashes between Substance opposer CM Punk and Substance enthusiast Jeff Hardy, they were monumental ones, born of real-life issues, framed with excellent matches and ending with a high-stakes match that actually had lasting consequences. Like Orton and Christian, it also saw one figure slowly turn to the dark side over multiple matchups, but unlike Orton and Christian, these two saved the best pay-per-view match until last. CM Punk and Jeff Hardy main evented SummerSlam, which seems ridiculous in hindsight. Neither man is 6'5", but boy howdy, both men made the most of the opportunity, turning out an absolute baller of a TLC match. CM Punk was in his prime at this point, especially when it came down to ruthless character work, and Jeff Hardy sure did wrestle like he was a man who was leaving the company and wanted people to miss him. Bloody hell, that swanton bomb through the announce table, Jeffrey. Wonderful car crash wrestling. Could have done without the weird Undertaker now you see Jeff, now you don't silliness post-match, but I guess they probably wouldn't have actually got the main event spot without it, which is bleak. Number 6, Edge vs The Undertaker, WrestleMania 24. Ah, Mr. Grumble himself, main eventing WrestleMania for the first time since WrestleMania 13, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it, I think this match is better than Taker vs Sid. I know, could cook an egg off that take. Edge is just really good, you guys. He tends to bring out the best in everyone he feuds with, especially because, like CM Punk's best heel work, WWE actually portrays him as smart, not just your typical cowardly chicken bleep villain. This match was all about Edge's smarts, knowing he was going into a match where there wasn't a Scooby's chance of doom that he could win on power alone, so he developed a cheeky counter for all the dead man shtick. There are 2 all-time great near falls in this boy as well. Edge kicking out of the tombstone after Charles Robinson sprinted for 8 days to get to the ring, and then a little bit later, Taker dispatching the Edgeheads, turning into a spear and kicking out 2.9999 recurring. A vastly underrated main event to a vastly underrated WrestleMania. Number 5, Triple H vs Batista, Vengeance 2005. See, I don't hate all Triple H World Heavyweight title matches. Just most Triple H World Heavyweight title matches, perhaps to finally shoosh all the people who criticise the Reign of Terror. Papa Trips put over Daddy Dave 3 straight pay-per-views in a row, culminating in this, one of the bloodiest and best, but most importantly, Triple H losingest Hell in a Cell matches of all time. The first Cell match he ever lost as well, and the lads batter each other. Sweet Christmas. Most Cell matches look back at Cell matches from this era like kids looking at their dads refusing to go to therapy. They hit each other with the chain, they hit each other with the sledgehammer, they hit each other with the steel steps, they hit each other with a steel chair wrapped in barbed wire, including a spot where Hunter takes a shot to the f***ing dome, Lord above. Really excellent near fall with Batista kicking out the pedigree, and a lovely little finish of WWE faking this out by thinking Trips will hit Dave with the sledgehammer while up for the powerbomb, but Batista's too quick. Quite long for what it is a Triple H main event, but it's rugged as balls. Number 4, Kurt Angle vs The Undertaker, No Way Out 2006. Kurt Angle only had 1 reign with the World Heavyweight Championship, but it gave us 2 brilliant matches on pay-per-view and 1 all-time worst match on pay-per-view. My Olympic hero doesn't do anything by halves. We spoke about his match against Mark Henry in last week's list and his performance at Mania 22 in the Honourable Mentions. Now let's cover this match, the best of the 3, and possibly one of the best B pay-per-view main events ever. Kurt defending the belt against The Undertaker, who went almost full ginger for it, which as we know is the most dangerous version of The Undertaker because he has the least amount of soul. Honestly, we look back at Undertaker's matches with HBK fondly, but this is probably the match where the dead man truly shocked everyone by how much he'd upped his game. Half an hour of wrestling excellence, showcasing the myriad strengths of both men. Angle's amateur chops, Taker's power game. There's some truly amazing near falls here, and the crowd are unglued for the entire second half of the match. Probably the best match of the year, and maybe should have been the Mania match instead of Mysterio winning. Sorry, I'm sorry everyone. Number 3, Triple H vs Shawn Michaels vs Chris Benoit, WrestleMania 20. Tell you what, triple threat matches at WrestleMania tend to be mint, don't they? Bryan vs Batista vs Orton, Bryan vs Edge vs Reigns, Banks, Becky Flair, Balor, Miz, Rollins, and if you've ever spoken to Luke Owen for more than 10 minutes at a time, he'll find a way to squeeze into that 10 minutes how much he likes the hardcore triple threat at WrestleMania X7. As much as it pains me to disagree with Luke about anything that isn't new metal related, the best triple threat in Mania history isn't that, it's this. Triple H versus HBK versus Chris Benoit inside a white-hot Madison Square Garden, beating the piss out of each other for our viewing pleasure. We've mentioned it many times, and it is that damn good, with Michaels and Benoit on extra special form. Sometimes I go back and watch this match just to see that sweet chin music to Benoit while he's locked Trips in the sharpshooter. It's like a bullet. The Backlash rematch a month later also kicked ass and could also go on this list, with the added bonus of the Montreal crowd being all up in HBK's business from the jump, right up until he tapped out of the sharpshooter, which is it's just very funny. Number 2, Chris Jericho vs Shawn Michaels, No Mercy 2008. Bless little Tempest, he loves this match so much. The culmination of the best feud of the year that he started watching wrestling is 10 Tempests out of 10, and it is outrageously good. A feud that ran off and on from WrestleMania through to No Mercy 6 months later. Both men took each other apart over that time. Eyes and shoulders and blood, so much blood. All those injuries being paid off in this, what might be the most psychologically sound ladder match in wrestling history. What it lacked in bonkers spots, it made up for in sheer hatred and brutality and technicality, using the ladder to isolate a body part and follow up with a submission. That's great stuff and perfect for a blood feud. Also possibly the best closing spot to a ladder match of all time, maybe? Maybe? Both men on top, the belt comes loose, each one clutching onto an end of the strap. Jericho literally fingertips away from defeat, hanging backwards. It's a bloody great match to cap off one of the best feuds of all time. And number 1, Triple H vs Shawn Michaels vs Chris Jericho vs Kane vs Booker T vs RVD, Survivor Series 2002. This is just a personal one, but goddamn I love the Elimination Chamber so much, and goddamn I love this Elimination Chamber so much as well. Just a total joy from start to finish. The glee of seeing a brand new stipulation hit the ground sprinting. The glee of an MSG crowd in full throat. The glee of seeing worst hair and worst tights ever Shawn Michaels win a world championship. It's just the perfect first chamber match. Everyone involved in it has been feuding with each other. All the eliminations make sense. No one feels truly shortchanged. There's some wonderful first time ever spots like RVD jumping off a pod for the first time. There have been some great chamber matches for the World Heavyweight title. 2009, 2010, the famous ending to the 2012 one with Santino Marella, but for my money, the best took place at Survivor Series 2002. A sheer joy from start to finish. And that's our list. What's your favourite World Heavyweight Championship match? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out last week's list, where we went very much the other direction, and you can hear a clip of that now. Even though this was recorded before Night of Champions, I feel completely confident saying congratulations to Seth Rollins, even though it happened in Saudi, so who the hell knows, The Undertaker could very possibly be the champion. It would go very well with his to-weight trophy. But no, it was Seth, wasn't it? In fact, I feel so confident if Seth is not the current World Heavyweight Champion, I have it on good authority that